Good morning. Today is Tuesday, February 27th, and this is a hearing of the House Insurance Committee. Next up, we've got a presentation by the Louisiana Realtors.
Kim Callaway with Louisiana Realtors. I'm the director of our Legal and Governmental Affairs. Louisiana Realtors is a trade association of about 16,000 members statewide. Our members are real estate professionals that get licensed by the state as brokers, agents, and they represent people in both commercial and residential transactions, and they also represent people in property management. And we think that our members bring a unique perspective to this property insurance crisis that we have because they deal with this every day. Let's see, and it's becoming increasingly more difficult for home buyers and home sellers and homeowners to obtain and maintain affordable property insurance. And today we want to share some statistics and some stories with you about the current property insurance climate and how it's impacting this process. The handout you have in front of you today that looks like this is the results of a statewide study that Louisiana Realtors engaged in last year. We wanted to just test the temperature of our membership, see what the issues were out there with barriers to home ownership and buying homes. And we really thought that the results would say it's student loan debt, credit scores, and stagnant wages that were the issues. But we were really surprised because those didn't even make the top three. Interest rates was number one, and our members told us that they really felt like that would work itself out. Property insurance was number two, and flood insurance was number three. So part of that survey, they wanted to kind of back up and say we surveyed our entire membership. We surveyed the Louisiana Bankers Association mortgage section. We thank them. The Louisiana Land Title Association membership. And we did interviews all over the state of our members, of their members, home builders, all sorts of people. So we wanted to prepare for this term. But I will step back and let our members tell you their stories because we think that that is the best way for anybody to understand what is going on with property insurance because they have some stories that I imagine you'll hear that will kind of put a face to the process in a different perspective.
Okay. Yeah, we're looking forward to hearing from them. Who wants to start? Okay.
Good morning.
Please identify yourself for the committee.
Sure. LaTanya LaBranch. I'm with Guedry Realtors, LaBranch and Associates. My primary area of concentration is residential real estate in New Orleans. And I have two stories that I would like to speak to from previous clients of mine. One was a listing that I had court appointed to try to sell this listing for a family. On the market, several offers, could not get affordable insurance. And I have my seller that has insurance already in place still that was paying $1,800 a year, and the buyer's insurances were coming in over $7,000. So ultimately, because she didn't understand the process where we were at the time, it sat on the market for a minute until she finally had to do a price reduction in order to sell that home. And then I had another client who purchased the home. 1 year into that home purchase, her insurance went up $1,100 more a month. She ended up taking a third job just so that she didn't have to lose her home. And she's still suffering because there's no work-life balance. She's working 3 jobs just to try to keep her insurance and her mortgage paid. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for that, and I'll follow up with the question if that's okay. And I'm hearing some of the same stories from realtors in Central and North Louisiana. Is this a story you're hearing throughout the New Orleans area?
Absolutely.
And are you have you heard any transactions not going through simply due to the cost of the homeowner's insurance?
Yes. I mean, funny because I was just sharing with them this morning that I had a property that I owned, and I had insurance on it, so I went to pull money out of it, and my insurance was pretty reasonable, but for me to pull money out of that home, my insurance went up to $11,000 a year, and it took me 7 months to make a decision on whether or not I wanted to pull that money out, which I needed to, or sacrifice $11,000 premium over the $2,000 that I was currently paying. So it's just, and then stories after stories where we weren't having, the the real estate market kind of came to a halt because you had a lot of people that was looking to purchase, and they're looking at the interest rates as well as the insurances and finding it unaffordable because of what the homes were selling for.
Okay.
So, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. My name is Clayton Fields. I am a real estate broker, and we supervise roughly 300 real estate agents between the Baton Rouge and New Orleans areas. A moment ago, Speaker, you asked if that is affecting people's ability to close deals or close transactions. We see that on a weekly basis. I'd like to talk to you about how the insurance prices and how that's rising is affecting those two local markets. I'd like to talk to you about the Martinez family. The Martinez family had all their children move out, recently had retired, looking to that stage of life, only to come home to find out that their homeowner's insurance had increased almost 3 times what they were paying before. The Martinez family has had to enter back into the workforce to be able to afford their mortgage. I'd like for you to consider the Brenniger family, who we're currently working with now. They recently had an accident that occurred with their family. They can no longer afford their mortgage. So they contacted us to help them sell that property, which we're trying to do now. We recently discovered in our due diligence period while listing that property, which is $170,000, that their homeowner's insurance is over $6,000. We will no longer be able to sell that property. The bank is going to foreclose in less than 30 days on that family. I'd also like for you to consider the Laurels family, who we're currently working with now. The Laurels family is a recent college graduate. She's a school teacher, looking forward to taking the money that she was able to save, put that into a well-established neighborhood, older neighborhood. Insurance is a little bit more than triple for what she had budgeted for. The dream of home ownership is now not likely, and she will likely consider to continue renting. We talked a moment ago about trying to bring in competition. We need more competition. Most of our clients are stuck with one insurance carrier, sometimes 2 if they're lucky, and that is absolutely affecting their ability to maintain a mortgage each month. Thank you for your time.
And I'm sorry, tell us where your company's located again.
Sure. We have 2. I'm the broker for Keller Williams in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and then also in New Orleans.
Okay. Thank you. And I think we'll hear from the Louisiana Bankers Association later, and they can probably comment as to how the real estate situation is affecting their business as well. Yes, ma'am.
My name's Phyllis Guedry, and I work here in the greater Baton Rouge area with Ladder and Bloom. And I've been selling real estate here for about 17 years now, and I have attended sales meetings every Wednesday, and I've heard the broker that comes in, the insurance broker who comes in to talk to us every year, going from about 20 carriers that he's had down to, in some instances, when I call him to get some help or get some ideas about what it's going to charge my people, he may have one carrier that's going to charge it, going to be able to insure. And it used to be where we would come in and look at the age of the roof on the property disclosure, and that would determine what our insurances were going to be. Now, it used to be a 15-year roof that you were thinking about or you were looking into. Now, I've had him turn down over the past probably 6 months, turn down multiple ones that had like a 5-year roof. Like he was unable to insure that. And you asked Clayton about the deals and if it's caused issues. I have one couple I've been working with for 6 months, and the way they choose the house they're looking at is not by the interior now, it's by the age of the roof. So there's so many houses that are not able to get sold. There's also, in our negotiations, I just so happen to have house closing with him in the next week, and my client wasn't going to buy it because she needed to replace that roof because of the number of the insurance, the amount of insurance it was going to cost her. So he had to sell it. His sellers had to come down 20 grand from the list price. So there's such a imparity, I think, that's happening with it, and it's hurting sellers and buyers alike, and as well as investors. I'm an investor, and I have a property that's 7 years old. You'd think that a property that's 7 years old, you should get insurance. In December, I got a letter saying they were going to drop my insurance. It took me about 3 weeks to find an insurance company that would actually write on it. So it's a daily struggle. So if there's anything that can happen, I would really appreciate it, because it would make business and life a lot easier for a whole lot of people.
Yeah, thank you so much. Your testimony has been very, very helpful today. I appreciate it. Let's see, we've got a question from Representative Abear.
Well, first of all, as one of the 16,000 Realtor members in the state of Louisiana, I do want to thank you for coming here today and sharing those stories. Because as a real estate broker, I have been watching the deals die. We have been watching the scenario, the obstacles created to home ownership. But I do have another question that hasn't been brought to the table as well. And any one of you can answer it if you can validate this as well. From the investor standpoint, how many investors are telling you they moved to self-insuring their properties?
A lot. Yeah, I've had that's a conversation with investors that I have now, and just any families who own their houses already. They're thinking that, is it going to be better to just insure myself rather than be paying somebody else and not get what I need back on the backside. So I'm seeing that pretty often. People asking about, should I self-insure?
And I am one investor that has opted to self-insure 5 of my properties. And I even talked with the bank when I was trying to get this money out, and I asked him, I said, well, what about self-insuring? I said, what about if I have enough equity or, liquidity money or whatever, can I self-insure this property? And so he told me, he said, well, we do it for some, but he didn't give me the criteria on what it would be to actually pull money down and self-insure my property, because I just said this is too unaffordable for me to pull money down and have to put this much just into insurance. And when the property, the age of the roof was 2 years old, the only people that will write it was citizens. And I'm being told that, oh, it's a 40% increase, things like that. So I chose to self-insure the majority of my properties to make things, affordable for me.
I'm sure many of you, go ahead.
Yeah, just to speak on self-insure, we're seeing more people, in my opinion, that are deciding as investors or people that have multiple properties, instead of self-insuring, they're just selling the houses. Yeah. They say that, you know what, I'd rather take my investment and move it into something else, or take it and move it into another state. And to me, that's more devastating than self-insuring.
That's where I was going next. Mm-hmm. There's so many people that try to grow wealth in the real estate industry. They buy properties. They've been paying on these properties. They're hoping to hold on to these properties for long periods of time. But it seems like the insurance market is forcing them to have to get out of their property and get away from what they're trying to do to protect their interests on the back end and hopefully their retirement. Thank y'all for being here. I really appreciate it.